And good morning, everyone, and welcome to this day. It is a Monday, the 27th of January, and we have a almost summer-like week coming up, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. On our show today, we have a gentleman coming on from Align Wealth Advisors, and he is going to talk about sort of a different approach to your finances and how to invest. And we'll find out all about that. We're going to bring you a segment from 7-Day Dental and also RadNet as well. And as far as the weather, excuse me, I forgot the meetings. There we go. I almost passed over that. Third Architectural Control and Standards Committee will be in the Sycamore Room, and that starts at 9:30. So if you're with Third, you might want to go down there and check that out. All right, now we'll get to the weather. I kind of jumped the gun there. We have, as I said, sort of a summertime weather pattern, really late summer, because we're going to have a high pressure coming in, and we're going to clear everything out. And of course, we're not going to be in the 90-degree area. However, it could be as we get to Saturday and Sunday, and maybe even Saturday, we could be approaching that 80-degree. Now, high pressure system is due to come in sometime Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, those 3 days. And it could produce some strong offshore winds. And there is even a possibility that we could see a red flag warning going up for possibly Thursday or Friday. So we'll see about that, how strong the winds are. But this huge high pressure system is going to be covering really all of California. Is going to be sunny and warm. And down here in Southern California, we are going to get those winds. So we'll see how strong they are, but do prepare for that. In case you don't want things to be blowing out of your yards and around your manor. Let's look around the area today, and just beautiful weather everywhere you go. As you can see, we're going to, as I said, a little bit warmer today than yesterday, and then we'll start to ramp things up as we go forward. But overall, just some nice weather coming up, and we'll see how strong those winds are. I hope they don't get too bad or cause any problems, but we'll see how that goes. Here's a nice photo here that's that somebody made a tribute to Kobe over at I think it was down at Newport Beach, but wherever it was, just a nice tribute to him, and thoughts with him, and of course all the families that were involved with that. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
There are over 400,000 seniors in Orange County today. So where does a senior or family caregiver go for information and resources? You can turn to the Answers Guide, published by the Council on Aging Southern California. Answers is full of articles and resources to help you navigate the aging experience. You can pick up your free copy today at the clubhouse nearest you or at the Social Services Office. The Council on Aging, helping seniors remain healthy, connected, and protected.
Hi, I'm Ann Mundell Noel, audiologist and owner of Amazing Hearing. As an audiologist, I have the education and expertise to assess, diagnose, and treat hearing loss. Hearing aids are only one part of the treatment process. The way we have been taught to fit, counsel, and use hearing therapy is what makes us different. Amazing Hearing, audiologists with the education, expertise, and empathy to change how you hear.
Jacobson McCall have created Agent 55, a real estate firm focused on 55-plus communities.
Agent 55 and the marketing technology allows us to deliver even more to buyers and sellers.
Everyone respects Kelly's over 30 years experience as a top sales producer and trusted expert within 55-plus communities.
Agent 55 has great knowledge of Laguna Woods.
Agent 55 offers something powerful and unique. We guarantee it. Ask us how.
Do you hear but not understand? I have good news for you. A proprietary system for verifying hearing correction, verified best speech clarity, is now available through the All-American Hearing Network. This means hearing improvement can now be verified and documented. Your individual hearing correction is guaranteed in writing. Call today to reserve your complimentary private consultation and experience word clarity dialed back into focus on the spot. Try AMP, the The world's smallest hearing aid at an unbelievably small price, just $750. It's ready to go in one visit, comfortable to wear, and virtually invisible when worn. Yes, you can now have verified best speech clarity. Hear every word. Call today to reserve your complimentary private consultation and experience word clarity dialed back into focus, on the spot, risk-free.
Well, with me right now is Nicholas Irizarry, and he is going to talk to us about something that maybe we haven't heard of before. And I'd like to welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ken. Thank you.
And you're with Align Wealth Advisors, and we're going to be talking about behavioral finance. And it's not something that I have heard about before. So welcome. Nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
And you're going to explain this to us. So.
Well, gosh, 20 years ago when I brought it to the table, it was unique and different. And now there's been a lot of awards and books written about behavioral finance. And it's really addressing how we as people are emotional first and we think second.
Yes.
And ironically, when it comes to things about money, we actually are not using our thinking brain as often as we might think.
Yeah. Is this... kind of go the pattern. I think this happens a lot. You hear about something in the news, wow, this is going to change, or this new car is coming out, or this, I got to invest in that. Yeah. Is that sort of what you're talking about?
It's part of it.
Okay.
So there's, over 20 different types of biases and issues relating around having a preconceived notion about what's right or wrong when it comes to money. And looking at something that we see that's advertised that perhaps would be a good investment, we might be a little late to the game on that one.
Right,
and,
yeah.
And we may not.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks can use stories that, hey, look, what about my friend, just invested in this or that, and they are really successful. So that becomes kind of an overconfident or a familiar way of investing.
Sure.
And then we end up getting hurt that way.
So what is your approach to this? Because as you just said, we get emotional about it. Even top investors get emotional about something. They look at trends and things like that, and they probably have a lot more information, the professional people that work in this industry, than the average person does, but they sometimes follow that path as well. And is that something that is a good path if you have the research and the information that backs it up?
It could be. I think the statement you made is true, that we're all emotional. We're humans, and I think it's important to understand that first, and then perhaps not make the mistakes that a lot of investors make, being overly emotional.
Right.
And so I decided 3 years ago to go ahead and get training and education in addition to my own educational background in psychology on the subject and the field of behavioral finance, so that I could first apply it to myself. And then how I apply it to my clients and prospective clients is to help them just understand and realize beforehand the potential for them making mistakes going forward.
Okay, so you just mentioned something, your background. Are you, did psychology comes first, or did finance and wealth management come first?
Psychology came first.
Okay.
I actually went to Princeton for psychology and then sociology.
All right.
And it's kind of weird how it works. If we look at ourselves as individuals first, and then we look at how we incorporate with other individuals, that becomes sociological.
Sure.
And then from there, we look at broader patterns, which becomes behavioral, and then we apply that to finance. So that's kind of how we tie it together. I went to school for finance when I was in my 30s, so that was a long time ago.
And you have, we have this slide on the screen here, and cognitive, social, emotional influences. And of course, that all plays into it one form or another, and I guess it's just balancing that out, right?
Yes, balancing it out and looking at things in a way that includes yourself. I think what we all do, have a tendency to do at least, is to exonerate ourselves from responsibility and say, look, not me. Maybe other people would do that, and maybe other people would react if the market suddenly started to have a problem.
Sure,
or in my own life I had an issue, and I'm not thinking clearly, not me. So the tendency for that is to exonerate oneself from responsibility in the area of making decisions. And as a professional, I find that the folks that are most likely to make mistakes are the ones that think they're least likely to make the mistake.
Right.
You know, and so similarly, if you have someone that has depression issues or whatever they are, and you say, hey, look, you know, you might need to seek help and advice from a professional, that's the first person who will say, not me, I don't need that help. It's the same thing when it comes to managing the behavioral finance part of it.
Right, and you know, with your background, that's true in anything we do.
That is, it really is. I think one of the biggest, things we face today is how great the market is and how wonderful things are. So we became a little overconfident, perhaps, a little familiar with the fact that things are going great. Why not I make my plans around that? And unrealistic, you know, so it shades the truth. And if we go back, say, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years regarding markets and behaviors of the market, we realize that it's been good and we can make plans, but not looking at short-term movements in the market, but looking more broadly. And that's kind of what I help clients with. So
are you saying then you want to help them look down the road further and long-term more? Yes. If we look, always reacting.
That's right. If we look down the road ahead of us, and we look from what's happened the prior, say, 30, 40, 50 years, we can make better predictions about how to perform, how to do things, you know, how to behave in regards to our own money and our investments.
Right. Now, as far as maybe somebody is, especially in this community, in fact, a lot of people are at the point in their lives where they're no longer accumulating much money. They might have a fixed income, or you know, the lucky ones have maybe a pension as well. But a lot of the folks here are not still out in the workplace where they're accumulating money that way as far as a work income. So of course, sometimes you know, they get worried when they see trends in the market because they think, you know, I have my nest egg here, losing part of my nest egg now at this age in life. It takes much more effort to get it back and rebuild that.
So true. So one of the common misconceptions, I think, about someone who needs income currently and they're retired is to not perhaps be exposed to the stock market. And that is kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. If you put all your money into bonds or into cash or into treasuries, we then probably won't outpace inflation over time. So we recommend, or I recommend, building portfolios that are exposed to the market the extent to which we have tolerance for it.
Right,
you know, because the market's going to do whatever it will, and it'll recover in 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. So we have to make sure we have that concern covered. But we only expose ourselves psychologically the extent to which we can handle the risk associated with it.
Yeah, and of course, again, you want a nice return on your investment, but as you get older, you have to kind of take that back a little bit and be satisfied with maybe a decent but consistent return on your investment.
Absolutely.
Right? You brought along a graph, and we're going to put that up, diversification in the average investor. So I know the lines might be a little hard, the small type, to see on the screen, but if you could maybe go through this for me.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that the market's going to do whatever it will, like the weather's going to do whatever it will.
Right.
But if we're prepared and we have ourselves a way of dealing with it ahead of time, we're going to most likely come out better than if we weren't prepared. It's the same exact thing for psychological preparation for the market. What I love is over to the right, the average investor. The average investor in orange is someone who is, like all of us, emotional and has been in and out of the market at the wrong times. The reason why I know that ahead of time by looking at this chart is that over to the left, if we look at the olive green section, that's the Standard & Poor's 500. That's the top 500 stocks in the United States. And if we just bought the Standard & Poor's 500 and held on to it and didn't have any emotion or behavior involved, we'd have done more than twice, almost 3 times the amount that the average investor does, because they're trying to second guess it all the time. And it's because of emotion and that behavior driven by emotion that they end up underperforming by 1/3 of the actual S&P. What I really love is the light blue and the dark blue lines are showing that there's so much less risk if you look at how it performed the olive green line in 2008,
of course, yeah.
A person that was in the S&P 500, although they would have outperformed the average investor, would also have to swallow and deal with a 54% drop in their account value.
Right.
Whereas a person who is diversified, say 60% stocks or 40% stocks, which most of our clients are in the 40% category, they went down about a third as much of the stock market. But over time, they didn't perform that much less than the S&P 500.
Yeah.
So you get almost the same return with far less risk, a third of the amount of risk. And if you notice, it recovered so much quicker.
Right.
They're directly
and
correlated.
That's the point, the recovery.
It's so much, so important. But yet, we're outperforming so much the average investor. So what I've realized is that if we can tolerate the blue or the dark blue or the light blue line, and then know in advance that we're prepared, the likelihood of pulling out and going in at the wrong times for the average investor may not happen. The propensity to be emotional would be less because we're prepared with a balanced portfolio that doesn't stress us as much.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now, what about when those downtimes are going to happen, right? Despite of how we've been going now for since 2008, things have started to go up a little slowly, but now have shot up, and then over time, you look back over the last, let's say, 25 years. And we've had things ebb and flow. However, over time, it begins to gradually go up. If you look at this line here, it drops down, but then it starts to go up. It may drop down again. Chances are it will.
Yes.
But then pops down and starts to go up again. So you look at this is when that does happen, when you do have a downturn, that's the time that you really have to have the cognitive thinking instead of the behavioral thinking, right?
That's absolutely right. So, the old adage, sell high, buy low.
Right.
The average investor sells low and buys high. Right now, people think, oh my gosh, the market's so great. Why don't I just, and you wouldn't believe it. They're jumping in now, which is pushing up the market. So they're buying high now. This is a time where myself, my money managers, and my partners are selling and putting their profits into cash. For opportunistically waiting for the market to correct and cycle, which it will inevitably, like everything else. Everything has ebbs and flows and patterns. As it corrects and goes down, we've got cash set aside because we have been disciplined to sell off the profits while they were high. So right now is a selling time, not a buying time. And then when the market starts to correct, that's a buying time when everybody's selling. So candidly, a disciplined investor is kind of taking advantage of the behavior involved in the market the opposite way the average investor is behaving. So when they're selling, we're buying.
Right, yes.
Isn't that funny?
And we see this all the time. A lot of times, something comes up in the news and they go, well, there's a market correction or whatever it might be. But then they come back and say, well, it's a sell-off period right now because certain things have gotten really high. The smart investors, the big-time institutional investors, that sort of thing, are selling off a little bit, putting their cash wherever they may be.
Cash.
And then, cash.
They're putting it in treasuries.
Like Apple, right?
That's right.
Yeah, like all cash. So that's kind of the approach you're taking, but you want to take it to the average investor.
Absolutely. So if you're an investor that doesn't have the wherewithal and the economies of scale and the pricing of an institutional investor, we just plug right into the institutional space. And we're doing what's called systematic reinvesting. Automatically, we're taking off profits, dividends, income, capital gains from the higher price securities, putting them to cash right now, holding on to them for a while, not timing things, but when the market starts to go south, when the prices are right, we'll buy them. It has nothing to do with the time in which we do it, but in the prices. And that really helps to reinforce buying more shares at a lower price, which is kind of like dollar cost averaging. That term.
Exactly.
And that's buying shares at a lower price over time.
Right. Now, are there certain things that you steer towards, or separate stocks, separate bonds, mutual funds, or you just kind of look at all that and see what's best?
Great question. The gospel, after 31 years of doing this, the gospel is diversification. And what I find is a lot of folks come to us with a lot of different accounts all over the place. And they believe then that they're diversified, when in reality all they are is spread all out. If we look at their investments and we do an overlap analysis, we find that they own a lot of the same stuff. So rather than get into a conversation about, hey, we should buy this and buy that, we know that we should buy all investments and not be just concentrated on the top 10 stocks or the S&P 500. Or with all due respect to it, it's driven by 10 stocks. So Instead, diversification, most of our portfolios have 3, 4, 5 to 8,000 securities in them, all over the world, stocks and bonds.
Right.
Gold, mining, manufacturing, silver, copper, hardware, lumber, timber, paper, all over the world. Because we know in advance, so one thing we do know about all this uncertainty is that somewhere, someplace, it'll be good. It's going to change and vary all the time, and we don't know which one it's going to be at any given time. Otherwise, we'd have that crystal ball mentality, and we, you know, you and I would probably be managing a hedge fund or something, you know.
Right, yeah. So you look at all of it. You look at the different mutual funds.
Everywhere,
and things
yes.
like that. Okay.
Yes, yes.
And you bring up a good point. A lot of times people are in several mutual funds, but they're not really aware of what's in those mutual funds.
Right.
And it turns out that they may be all very similar.
Yes, in fact, majority of the time they are.
Yeah.
Gosh, we have some of the most wealthy clients come in with all these different accounts and all these major institutions, and they all own the same thing, and they're exposed to inordinate risk because of that, not knowing it.
Right.
And now when everything's riding high, it looks great. But it's like having a car with, you know, special fuel inside of it, and it doesn't have all the safety features in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. No,
Yeah.
You know.
I see what, yeah, you make a good point. So how can people get a hold of you?
Well, gosh, we're local. You know, we're in the Civic Center right here in Laguna Hills. We're easy to find, Aligned Wealth Advisors. They can just give us a call or come to one of our educational workshops.
All right, so you're just right down the block there.
Yeah, and I believe
right.
in people making informed decisions. Come to a workshop first,
Right.
and just check us out and learn some things.
How often do you have your workshops?
Pretty much every month. We have 2 per month. Sometimes there at the facility. Right there, there's a really nice speaking place there. So twice a month, maybe even 4 times a month. So it's all on our website.
All right, very good. Nice to meet you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you, you as well.
Hope to
Thanks,
see you
Ken.
again.
Yes,
You
appreciate
take care,
the time.
and we'll
Thank
be
you.
right back.
Save now at LA Carpet & More's 50% off sale.
Buy direct and save 50% on carpet and 50% off tile.
Plus, get 5 years 0% financing.
LA Carpet, #1 for you.
Save now at LA Carpet & More's 50% off sale.
Buy direct and save 50% on carpet and 50% off tile.
Plus, get 5 years 0% financing.
LA Carpet, #1 for you.
Well, I'd like to welcome from 7-Day Dental Dr. Christine Chung and Dr. Chuck Lee. Great to have you back again, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank
morning.
you for having us.
Well, it's always good to have you here, and I love that spot that we always show with your daughter, and it's great.
Yeah, she got more compliments than mom and
yeah,
dad.
I bet she did. That's the way it is, but that's okay, right? Yes. Well, here we are in spring, and people, a good time of the year to think about going to see your dentist. And the subject we're going to talk about today are implants. And first, let me ask you, Dr. Lee, how long have implants been around?
Dental implants have been around for over 40 years.
Really?
Yes. Dental implant were started after, they started doing orthopedic using titanium for the joints, the knee, the elbow, for many years before dental implants came around. Then Dr. Brandemark from Sweden started, thinking, okay, if it works in this bone, why don't we put it in this bone? And they placed it in jawbone and the mouth, and it's been around over 40 years now.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
The success rate has been tremendous. It's over 90%, about 92 to 95, depending on the location of the jaw.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very safe. Titanium adapts well with the body, and if patients have it done and they come regularly every 3 months to 6 months to get the implants clean and checked, the implants will last a very long time.
Okay, and that's something that's very important, right?
Yes.
People think that, oh, I have implants now, I don't need the same kind of maintenance I would for my normal teeth, but you do, am I right?
Yeah. So when people talk about dental implants, it's a normal day-to-day, or it's an everyday, people like me and you, to have an implant to replace a tooth. Because people might think that, oh, implant is just for injuries, or that you get injuries from car accident or facial traumas, but no, it's not. For every missing tooth, we would recommend to place an implant.
Okay.
And that's how routinely that we do implant in our office.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's talk about the expense of it. And, is it covered by insurances? And I know some people with their Medicare, some people have a Medicare Advantage program that has dental, some people don't. So let's talk about that.
Well, since implants has been around for so long, it's come a long way. A lot of insurance companies are now covering for dental implant as a mode of treatment. And I think your question was it expensive?
Right. I mean, I guess we should talk as, expensive is a relative term.
Yeah.
Right. But, what is the cost range? And
Well, the cost range really depends on how many teeth you're missing. But I've always thought, because when you're missing a tooth, you have 4 options. One is do nothing. But if you do nothing, your adjacent teeth will collapse, because teeth, they want to touch one another. So they'll collapse like this. And the opposing tooth will start to grow more. So,
oh, really? Even if
Yes.
you're an adult?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't
because
realize
teeth
that.
need each other. Teeth need to have something to bite on.
Right.
If you don't have, if a top tooth doesn't have a bottom tooth, it's going to keep migrating downward.
So it's like a brick wall. You take a brick out, and sooner or later you're going to have problems with the other ones.
So everything starts collapsing. So of course we don't want that. The other option we can do is a permanent bridge. If you're missing a tooth, we can slenderize both adjacent teeth down to a nub, and then take impression and do a permanent bridge, which we have done for hundreds of years. But the only problem with anytime you're grinding healthy teeth down just to get a bridge in, everything you do in life in dentistry, there's a consequence. In 10 years, maybe 15 years, that tooth might need a root canal, or it may chip or crack. So that one is not a great option. The third option is another viable option is a removable. Removable is a partial you can take in and out. And now we've gone a long way. We can design partial where it looks very lifelike.
Okay.
However, any partial is a movable. So I've had a lot of patients complaining is that they feel very embarrassed, or they feel very, they have low self-esteem when they're talking to somebody that's sitting right across from them, because they feel like they're eating, while they're eating or talking, the partial's moving. Even though it's not.
No, I understand. I get what you're saying.
So that kind of gives patient a very, that feeling of not very self-confidence. And so I think that my philosophy is, if you're missing a tooth, you have a one-tooth problem. Let's make it a one-tooth problem and solve it with a one implant.
All right.
And in the long run, you save a lot more money than starting to do more other treatment, because any treatment you do, you know, there's going to be other treatment coming along. So.
Okay.
Now, I want to add to that, the reason he's mentioning that denture is loose is because it might fit today, but it might not tomorrow, because once you lose your tooth, you continue to resorb or lose bone over time.
Okay.
So with dentures, with implants, once you put the implants inside your bone, it preserves the bone.
Okay.
That's a good point.
So,
the research says, if you're missing teeth, it's better not to wear something than to wear something, because if you wear a denture or a partial, you are losing more bone than if you didn't wear partial, which is kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's mind-boggling.
So the maintenance is still the same, whether somebody has one implant, 2 or 3. In other words, you still got to brush every day. You've got to do, but you've got to maintain the healthy gums, right?
So implant just replacing your tooth, and now it acts like your own tooth. You still have to brush. You still have to go to the dentist on a regular basis to have your implant checked out. We do periodic X-rays and a cleaning because you heard of the term implantitis?
No, I've not heard of that.
So that's the infection of the implant, just like periodontitis is the infection of your gum once you have your tooth. So the implant just acts like your own natural teeth. You still have to maintain it.
Okay. Yeah. Let me ask you about sort of the time frame, because the time you see these ads, it only takes a single day. Well, that may be when the implant is put in and all, but there are steps to make things safe and proper. Make sure that the fitting is going to be correct. Am I right?
Yes.
Proper planning, treatment planning.
So usually when a patient comes in for a consult for implant, there's a lot of things we have to do to prepare. Is one, we have to take x-rays, adequate x-rays. Some patient we're able to just take a regular, simple x-ray. Some patient we have to take a CT scan to see their bone in 3 dimensions. And then some patients, what we have to do is do some study models, and we have to evaluate their health history to make sure that they're healthy and there's nothing that they're doing or taking that may cause implant not to take as well.
Okay.
Then there's, let's say it's a patient that has dentures or a lot of missing teeth and we're doing a denture, then we have to start taking impression, we have to measure it, all that. And then the day of the D-Day is where we remove the teeth and we put in the implants. And a lot of times now we are doing both at the same time, because this way the patient doesn't have to go through the trauma or the numbness more than once.
Okay.
So we remove the teeth and we place the implant in, we place the bone graft in, then we cover everything up. And if the implants were, if we feel that the implant were torqued down to a certain strength, like they're strong enough, then the chance of loading, which means we can hook it onto your denture right away. Now, if we feel that the implants were placed in bone area that was not as strong as we like, then we may not load, but we'll still have you have something when you leave.
Okay.
You know, but it won't be attached. So we may have to wait a few months for the bone to integrate around the implant and then load it.
Okay.
And the most important thing is this. We hear a lot of teeth in the day and all that. And my take is, if we do 10 implants and we have 1 failure out of 10, that's a big amount of failure. So a lot of times I always try to see what's best for patients. So we want to make sure they leave as looking good, but we don't want to push the body envelope.
Okay.
The body needs to heal. Right. If you break something, you need to let it heal. So,
Christine, let me ask you along those lines. Are they safe? Are implants safe? And the other question is, do they last? In other words, 10 years from now, do you need to take the tooth portion of the implant out and put it with a new one, or will they last as long as let's assuming you take care of them?
That's great questions. Well, implant is very safe because from the get-go we need to choose the case. A healthy patient, almost every patient is a good candidate for implant. And then throughout the years, like I mentioned before, we have to maintain it. So implant, I've seen implant in the mouth for the last 20, 30 years. Know how to take care of it and know how to maintain. It's just your own natural tooth.
Wow. So if you're saying they're that old and technology has advanced since then, so that's incredible.
Yeah, dental implant nowadays the main stream in dentistry.
Yeah.
So
very good. Well, you know, as I said, springtime is always a good time to get your teeth checked out. And their number is on the screen. That is their right here, their local number here for the Laguna Woods area, and 7daydental.com. Anything else you'd like to add?
And we open long hours. We welcome new patients. We have always special for Laguna Woods patients.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Great to have you both on again, and we'll talk more next time we see you, and say hi to your kids for us.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Over 25 years, we have worked hard to make Brilliant Smile the premier dental office in Laguna Woods. We take the extra time to understand our patients' special needs and always perform the highest quality dental work at affordable prices in a relaxing and friendly environment. There is no need to refer our patients to anybody else. We perform everything from cleaning all the way to the implant and sinus surgeries all under one roof. Stop in or call and experience the Brilliant Smile difference.
Thank you for joining us. Today I have Dr. June Chen, who is a dedicated breast radiologist, and we're going to talk about tomosynthesis. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So tomosynthesis is probably something a lot of people haven't heard of. Can you tell me what it is?
Yeah, so tomosynthesis is also called a 3D mammogram. And the way it's different from a standard 2D digital mammogram is that in addition to the single flat picture that the 2D mammogram offers, with the 3D tomosynthesis, there is a 3D image of the breast that's taken. So that allows the radiologist to evaluate the 3D picture of the breast layer by layer, so we can see the breast in greater detail.
So when a patient is asking, or they go to their doctor, okay, we would like you to go get a mammogram, is this something that they have to ask for extra, or is it just an automatic thing?
It is something that her doctor needs to order.
Okay.
Now, she may or may not need to ask her doctor. Her doctor may bring it up by themselves.
Okay.
However, it does need to be on the order form and indicated whether or not you want just the standard 2D mammogram, or do you want the combination 2D mammogram plus the tomosynthesis mammogram.
And when we were talking earlier, you were telling me that you are finding more cancers with the tomosynthesis rather than just using the 2D.
Yes, that's correct. It's very exciting for us that we now have the 3D tomosynthesis, because it does allow us to find more breast cancers, especially the invasive breast cancers, which are the types that are lethal if not found early. So obviously the earlier that we can find these breast cancers, the more lives that can be saved. And in recent years, the research studies have indicated that with the addition of the 3D tomosynthesis mammogram, more cancers can be found. So that's very exciting for our community.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Let's talk about the machine that's used. Is it the same machine for both 2D and 3D?
So the 3D mammogram is still a mammogram. It still uses x-rays of the breast. It is a little bit different in that now a portion of that mammogram, oh, this is wonderful. Pictures come up. A portion of that mammogram machine can now swing and produce an arc, and that's indicated on the picture to the right, where the machine is tilted a little bit to the right rather than being straight up and down. And what that's doing is it's capturing mammogram pictures from different angles. And this allows us to produce the three-dimensional picture that we can then, as radiologists, look through layer by layer.
And I think you said it only takes like 10 seconds extra.
Correct. Depending on the machine, it may vary a little bit. However, it does not take very much longer, 10, 11 seconds. And the compression is the same. And sometimes a woman may not even realize that she had gotten the extra 3D tomosynthesis, but they have, because it's quick and easy, not that different from just receiving the standard 2D mammogram.
Okay, and so where would they have this done, the 3D mammogram? Is it located within our vicinity here?
So we at BreastLink, at our centers, we have 3D tomosynthesis machines.
Okay, great, great. And then would it matter whether or not someone had dense breast versus maybe a breast implant?
So that's a great question. Tomosynthesis is really a wonderful addition to the 2D mammogram for virtually all of our patients. It is particularly useful in women who have dense breast tissue. And the reason for this is because breast cancers can be hidden in dense breast tissue on a mammogram. And so the addition of the 3D tomosynthesis allows us to examine the breast in greater detail, and as I said, layer by layer. So we're able to see each portion of the breast in smaller slices and in greater detail.
Okay, and one last thing, what would you say to all of the women out there about tomosynthesis?
Oh, I just think it's a wonderful addition to the 2D mammogram. I would highly encourage all women to speak to their physician about ordering it. And I think in addition to getting the 2D mammogram annually, add on the 3D tomosynthesis.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you very much for the information.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And remember, if you would like to know anything about what it is that we've talked about today, you can always go to radnet.com. Thank you.
Family-owned Capistrano Toyota, our new VIP equity department, wants to buy your car, paid for or not. This exclusive buying program includes complimentary no-obligation appraisal at your home or at our dealership. Top market dollar paid for any make or model. Any loan balance will be directly paid off, if there is one. All DMV documentation handled for you, and your equity check will be delivered to you. Interested? Please call Capistrano Toyota at 877-857-0124 or visit online at capotoyota.com for program details.
Welcome back. We have Sharon Ellis, who is the president of Habitat for Humanity Orange County, with us to tell us about their organization and all the wonderful things that they're doing here in our community as well as internationally. Well, thank you for joining us. It's so nice to have you.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
So Habitat for Humanity has been around for quite some time. Yes. Obviously, Orange County is the focus of what we're discussing today. Tell me a little bit about the Habitat for Humanity here locally.
Habitat for Humanity of Orange County is an amazing organization. We've been building in this community throughout the county for over 30 years. And we have built 219 homes, which is an incredible accomplishment in an area of the country that is so costly to live in.
Exactly, yes.
So not only do we build houses, but we have a repair program that supports families who are low income, who own their homes, but are maybe physically or financially limited in maintaining that home in a safe way. We also have a neighborhood revitalization program that really looks at how we can help a community that is maybe struggling to look at themselves and figure out what it is they would like to see happen, and then we help make that happen. We don't make it happen, we help them make it happen.
Okay.
In addition, we have 2 restores,
right,
which are discount home improvement stores.
Okay.
And then we have an international arm.
Right. Now, tell me how Habitat for Humanity got started.
Oh my gosh. It was an organization that really started with the concept of looking at the way people were living here in the US. So Millard and Linda Fuller had been in Africa, had seen some of the terrible living conditions there, came back to the US, and they lived in Georgia, and decided that one of the challenges that they saw here was the housing limitation. And so they really invested all of their money in starting it. And the vision initially was that someone would donate the land, someone would donate their manpower, someone would donate materials, and people would volunteer. A family would participate. They would be assuming a mortgage, a small mortgage, and that would be paid forward. That model has kind of grown over the years to in Orange County, we're building 25, 40 homes at a time. So it's a slightly different model, but still that same concept.
Now, one thing that you had mentioned is Habitat for Humanity tries to prevent homelessness. How are they doing that?
This is interesting. When you think about what happens right now, we have many homeless people, and they're there for a lot of different reasons. But one of the reasons are the families who are really, they're working, they're paying their rent, but someone has just increased the rent to a point where they can no longer afford to be there. We have families who are coming to us who have 70 to 80% of their income going to housing. Habitat commits that not more than 30% of their income will be their housing costs. So when a family comes to us and goes from 80% of their income going to housing to 30%, you've just stabilized that family. So in a way, we can prevent homelessness by getting families into homes that they can afford.
Now, there is a project that you're working on in Fullerton, and we're showing the picture right now. Tell me about the home and the rendering that we're looking at.
There are 12 homes that we'll be building in Fullerton, duplexes. We have 4 under construction right now. We'll have another 4 that will be starting in July, and then we'll start the final 4 probably January, February of next year.
And then our next slide, we're showing people who are actually, building the houses. So, do you have to know how to, use a hammer and a saw and all that, or do you show people, or what do you do?
We have people who have never picked up a hammer who are out on the construction site. We have trained supervisors on site who really help us. And in addition, we have volunteers who call crew leaders, and those crew leaders are there to help people like you and me know how to pick up the hammer and use it appropriately and use equipment, materials, all the stuff that we've got on the site. So if you've never built a house, you've never been on a construction site, there's probably something that we can teach you that day that would be really fun. We also have a women build team. And yes, I know, it's really fun. They not only go out on the construction site, but they also have a project where they build playhouses, and then those playhouses are donated to various organizations or to families that have children.
Oh, I like that. That sounds great. Okay, so if someone wanted to volunteer to help build, there's also plenty of other opportunities. You don't necessarily have to go to a construction site. So tell me about some of the other volunteer opportunities and how someone would go about volunteering.
Thank you for asking that question, because I think a lot of people think that the only thing you can do is go out and build. But we have everything from volunteers in accounting, volunteers in the family selection process, which is an incredibly heartfelt, it's just an amazing thing for volunteers to do. You can do data collection for us, data entry. In the restore, we have tons of volunteers. So if you have an interest in working with Habitat, we probably have a place where you can volunteer.
Oh, that is awesome. Now, another opportunity that you have is international travel, where you go and build in other countries. Yes,
I've taken teams all over the world. I just got back from a trip from Ethiopia. We're taking a team to Argentina this summer. So again, you don't have to have a lot of skill. There's a couple things that you do need to have. Number one, you need to be able to lift about 10 pounds, 20 pounds probably is a good measurement. You need to be able to walk a mile unassisted. You need to be thoughtful about the countries where we're building and understand that sometimes they do things a little differently than we do, but it's their country, not ours. We have a team of 18 going to Argentina this summer, and I'm not sure where the next one's going to be, but we will definitely have another one.
Well, one step at a time. That's awesome. That's great. Now, if people, if they would like to donate furniture or mattresses or whatever, couch and things, What do they need to do? Should they go onto the site to find their local store, or how does that work, or a local pickup?
So if you just contact Habitat for Humanity Orange County,
okay.
We have 2 restores, one in Santa Ana and one in Anaheim.
Okay.
And it's gently used and sometimes brand new product that's there, so it's open to the public. We do accept donations. We do not accept mattresses.
Oh, no mattresses at
No
all.
mattresses,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Just for health reasons.
Sure.
And but we do have a team that will come out and pick up product, and if they would reach out to Habitat,
right.
The team will come out and they'll
Okay.
coordinate it and
Okay.
and pick it up. So
Okay.
our local number is 714-434-6200.
Now we did put an 800 number up there, so would they still be able to get a hold of you guys through the 800
That'll
number?
take them to a larger organization. That'll take them
okay.
to the Atlanta
Oh,
office.
it will?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So-
And then the actual website, it's called, it's Habitat for Humanity, orangecounty.org, correct?
.org, yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, good. Well, thank you so much. I think we covered everything, and hopefully people will be able to come and help you volunteer and maybe go to Argentina.
I would love it. I
All
would
right.
love it. Thank you.
Thank you. And remember, if you would like to donate items or if you want to participate with Habitat for Humanity, go to habitatforhumanityorangecounty.org. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Desiree from Irvine Subaru, where families come first. As a family-ran dealership, your family's safety is our #1 priority. Come in and find the perfect Subaru from the largest selection of Subarus in Orange County. All models are top safety picks by the Insurance Institute of Highway Safety. We offer the ideal balance of safety, performance, and economy. Irvine Subaru, more Subarus, more safety, more performance, more love.
And our movie coming up today is a classic, funny, romantic Western starring James Gardner in Support Your Local Sheriff. This came out in 1969, and it's all about a small-scale gold rush erupts in a Colorado town after treasure is found in a grave. The area quickly becomes a magnet for criminals and other ne'er-do-wells, but everyone is too intent on searching for gold to consider law and order. When Jason McCullough, played by James Garner, comes into town, he is a supremely laid-back gunslinger, and he becomes the de facto lawman, aided by a local eccentric named Jake, who is played by Jack Elam. McCullough's ingenuity is tested, however, when he runs afoul of a tough guy, he gets the best of him. And a great cast: James Gardner, Joan Hackett, Walter Brennan, Jack Elam, Harry Morgan, and very young James Dern. So that is today at 2 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. Just a really fun movie. And as I said last week, James Garner, of course, besides the Rockford Files, which came after this, he was known for doing the Western Maverick. And this is sort of a play on that character that he was in. Different character, but sort of the same genre, which was sort of a light comedic Western. All right, Friday movie. This is a very different movie. It's called Cold Pursuit, and this came out about a year ago and stars Liam Neeson and Laura Dern. And this is about a guy, Nels Coxman's quiet life as a snowplow driver comes crashing down when his beloved son dies under mysterious circumstances. He searches for the truth, and it becomes a quest for revenge against a psychotic drug lord named Viking and his sleazy henchmen. Transformed from an upstanding citizen to a cold-blooded vigilante, he unwittingly sets off a chain of events that includes a kidnapping, a series of deadly misunderstandings, and a turf war. This will be again on Friday. It is rated R. It runs 2 hours, and it's billed as an action, crime, and drama. Cold Pursuit, Friday at 2 o'clock and at 7 o'clock. So that should be a good one as well. Now, a few things I'm going to tell you about. One, the California Club is having a really fun event. It's called Kiss Me, I'm Irish. And if you're asking why now and not in March, well, What they told me is that it's a lot easier to get the musical group that they wanted, the Young Dubliners, out this time of year than in March, as you can imagine. So this will be happening January 28th at Clubhouse 5. That is tomorrow. And so I encourage you to get a hold of them today, because there is going to be a dinner there. They want to know how many people are going to be coming there. The price is $28 for members, $33 for non-members, includes a big dinner and some fun and entertainment. So give them a call at 949-309-8822, and you can go on the website as well, California Club of Laguna Woods Village.com. Coming up, of course, are the Oscars, and the Recreation Department is having an Oscar evening. Sunday, February 9th, they're going to be having a live showing of first the red carpet at 3:30, followed by the award ceremony at 5 o'clock. So you don't have to make reservations. This is a free event. Just head on over there and have a great time at the Performing Arts Center. They'll have a no-host bar available, and it doesn't say here if they're going to have like popcorn or anything like that going on. I think they might, though. But that is, of course, Oscar Sunday beginning at 3:30. And one more thing that I want to mention, because these tickets sell out very quickly as they have in the past, the legendary Frankie Avalon is coming to the Performing Arts Center on Saturday, March 7th. One showing at 7 p.m. So the tickets are available right now at the Performing Arts Center box office, and you can go over there to find out more information or call them at 597-4288. But again, something like this generally comes close to selling out, and you want to get your tickets soon on that. All right, got a minute left. Tell you about the weather. We have got almost like a summertime weather pattern going on here. We have a huge high pressure system that is going to be expanding over the state. Therefore, our temperatures are going to be going up, not like summer. However, for this time of the year, in the mid-70s, and we're going to have offshore winds possibly coming in Wednesday. Kind of looks like right now maybe Wednesday overnight into Thursday into Friday. And next weekend we're going to be warm as well, maybe even approaching 80 degrees. Here's the temperatures throughout the area, just absolutely beautiful. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.